Hey guys, this is Mike from Deep to Force of Will here, coming back to you with another video. It's been a little bit since we've done a deck profile, and it's been a really long time since we did a New Frontiers deck profile, so figured no better time to celebrate the 4th of July than with a red, white, big quotes around that, and blue deck. For all of you in America, you know, Happy Independence Day. For all of you outside of the US, this is going to be completely, you know, whatever. But either way, figured we'd do a little bit of fun stuff. And of course, when I talk about fun, I'm always referring to Reflect and Refrain. Unfortunately, we don't have the catalog updated yet, so we're just working through on tap right now. So bear with me for everything going on here, but you should be able to see everything in the right-hand side of the screen for, you know, cards and their effects. So without further ado, let's get into this deck. It's mostly just like, you know, basic synergy basis, having ways to dig through the deck quickly, some cute little interactions, and of course a Gorgon, because it's a deck made by me. So first of all, our ruler is Reflect. You know, you get the Stranger deck of 10, energized for red or blue. As the game starts, you can convert it into Refrain on the other side, and you gain Passion. Whenever Fire Regalia enters the field under your control, choose one. If it's Change the Heart, choose up to 2 instead. Produce red. Deal 200 damage to player or J Resonator, or destroy target damaged Resonator. And for the Refrain side, you gain Calmness. Whenever a Water Regalia enters the field under your control, choose one. If it's Change the Heart, choose 2 instead. Produce blue, or rest target entity, or draw a card. So, get some cute stuff with them. And most of the time people like to try and use the Refrain side with something like Lover's Lock to try and get the triggers at instant speed, but we're doing a little bit of different stuff with this deck. So, onto the main deck. We've got 4 Gatekeeper Velsivaria, definitely just easily one of the best 1-drops that we have for red. Unfortunately, red is not very good right now, but that won't stop me from trying to make this card work. When she enters the board, you just remove any number of cards in your hand from the game and draw that many cards. She gains +1 for each card in your grave, removed area. She has Quick Cast on a 0/7 that gains stats, which is kind of crazy. And the last part with Light and Fire Resonator's Disguises means nothing. So she's literally just here to stack up our removed area for Light of Raise and Revive, and to dig into our deck for more combo pieces. Next up we have Spirit of Calmness, who's just essentially a 1-cost 600/600 with Quick Cast for Reflect Refrain. Like, Reflect Refrain gets some of the craziest tempo tools I've ever seen. So this thing just being like a really good body early on is really nice. And it comes with the remove 2 counters to draw a card too. Again, digging through your deck for more combo pieces is nice. Still retains a 4/4 body on top of it, so no reason not to run this thing. It's just very good. Basically just a cantrip for the deck. And then we have 3 Dark Alice, who's arguably the worst one of these. She's, you know, easily the best card in a vacuum, but for the point of the deck, you just need a couple more things to keep drawing through the deck, and she does basically just that. Moving on, we got Scheherazade, the Teller of Heroic Epics. Basically just ways to access our Stranger deck, giving us a solid 2-drop. Really not much else to say about her. You can definitely get the Passion and Calmness combination with the Spiral of Potential Convergence, which can let you dig deeply through your deck, and we've got a Thunder in there just in case. So there's a lot you can do with her. She's a very strong card. Moving on, we've got 3 Medusa, because it's mine. It's a deck by me. Medusa herself is a terrible 3-drop, unfortunately. Very combat focused. Not having Quick Cast is really terrible for trying to have a control tool like this. But when you see that she's a 3-drop, she combos with Light of Raise and Revive to bring her back from the removed area at a Quick Cast speed for 2, and you can trigger her blocker is blocked by Resonator trigger. Throw something back on the bottom of your opponent's deck. It's a cute little synergy there. Obviously, if you have multiple Medusas, you can just pay blue to give them +2/+2. It's not really going to come up often, but she's basically just here as a bit of a fun removal tool. So the deck can go without her, but I wanted to make it fun. We've got 2 Keeper of the Past Earther, in case you dip anything into the graveyard with Dark Alice and you need to remove it. Earther's there. She's also, you can bring her back at instant speed with Light of Raise and Revive. Same deal there. She's really, really good when you have stuff like Ouroboros in the grave to just deal 1,000+ to things, which is nice. So, definitely a good inclusion there. We've got 2 blue illusory dragons. This one it's good, but you can't bring it back with light. It's a 2-cost quick cast 1,000 flyer though, which is really good. If you have Communist, you pay 2 less for it. Normally you start on the Refrain side to try and get that. And of course, if you pay 1, you have Communist, you just rest something, you give it extra defense. It's a really nice mid-range tool, and it lets you invert back to the red side so you can drop something like Caduceus. And then last, for the Resonators, we've got Ouroboros, just the 3 of. You'll see resistance later on in the deck. This deck digs through itself really, really quickly, so you can definitely find these combo pieces. If you can find the chance to, drop the Ouroboros and swing at your opponent's face on their turn. Light of Razor Revive is really good in combination with this, just because it removes any blockers, and because we don't have Phantom blockers in this game, Ouroboros just goes through for 2,000. So there's a lot of synergy that you have there with him. So definitely a sneaky win condition for this deck. Most people don't really tend to expect it out of Reflect and Refrain. Moving on to the Regalia, we've got 4 Change of the Heart. You're playing Reflect Refrain, you're playing Change of the Heart. There's not really much else I have to say about it. And then you play the 1 Caduceus. Giving your J-Ruler Drain means nothing because we have no J-Ruler. But Caduceus is really good because you can use it to pay for Spiral of Potentially Convergence in some cases. Obviously it pays for Light of Raise and Revive, Resistance of the 12 Protective Deities. Ouroboros doesn't matter. So, it's just a good card to have. 5th Regalia really comes in clutch sometimes. Moving on, we have 1 Thunder for the combination of Spiral and Potential and Convergence. If you're able to just copy Thunder a couple of times, you can just close out the game really easily, especially if your Ouroboros did not swing for the game. As mentioned before, Spiral of Potential Convergence. If you have these with in combination with Scheherazade, you just loop through your deck, dig as much as you can, copy Thunders at the end of it so you don't just endlessly copy these things forever and are stuck in an endless loop. Pretty much the namesake of this deck is the Light of Raise and Revive. Everything kind of revolves around it in a sense. You have the 3 drops that you bring back, the killing things with to swing with the Ouroboros, and just I guess you could search with Caduceus. You could search Caduceus, but you're not going to do that. So it's just a really powerful card. Lyneth never really got to use it much because Lyneth isn't really that strong, but I think Reflect and Refrain can kind of find a way to, finagle something with it. And then lastly, we have just the Resistance of the 12 Protective Deities. Obviously, you can combo with Ouroboros. If you see the Caduceus, you can use this to dig through your deck a little more too. So there's just a lot of minor synergies that this card has on top of just being a way to accidentally kill your opponent whenever you get the chance. So that's it for the main deck. Moving on to the Stone deck. Pretty simple. 4 Magic Stone of Heart's Core, 4 Magic Stone of Heat Ray, 1 Ataractes Memoria, and 1 Magic Stone of Light Vapors. Basically, this just gives us 8 fire sources and then 6 of both water and light sources. And then moving on to our Stranger deck. These are mostly just kind of because you want the cheapest Strangers you can get that do the most off of Scheherazade because she's able to dig through things a little bit better. So we've got obviously the 2 Ares here. Just as the Precision Eternal, if you just happen to find it off Scheherazade and play it at instant speed, you can just block something, not die, and then hit them on the crackback. Barbatos is really nice at instant speed as well. Being able to rest all of the J Resonators on your opponent's turn is really, really nice. Blue Wizard, obviously, stopping automatic abilities is really good. Siegfried, if you happen to, if somebody starts attacking you, you reveal this with Scheherazade, play it, and destroy the thing that's attacking you. And then the barrier for fire and darkness is really nice too. And then lastly, Twin Swords of Water's Mercy to, put things back on the top of their owner's decks. This thing already has Quick Cast, but Scheherazade just lets you kind of toolbox yourself for a little bit. And then sideboard isn't really, crazy important. These are basically just suggestions. We have the passion versions of the commonest things that we have in the deck. If you want to switch to a more tempo-oriented version of this deck, you can with these, but not super recommended since we're trying to find combo pieces for the most part. Optical Camouflage, just return a Resonator to its owner's hand. This could definitely be slotted out for Bewildering Charm, just because you can pay it for free, but this one just being always live, even if you hit 3 Heat Ray in a row is really important, so definitely important to think about in the deck. 3 Erendite and 2 Protection of the Angels. Erendite to just kind of stop the Sigrid enter triggers, and Protection of the Angels in case you're playing against a removal heavy deck. Again, all this is subject to change, but this doesn't really matter that much. So going back up through the deck here, clearly this is, you know, not really meant to be a super competitive deck. Obviously, you've got a couple of really strong plays that can happen in it. You've got a lot of synergies that are built into the deck, but for the most part, it seems like it's something that you would probably just bring to your locals to play against in a New Frontiers format tournament, just to try and cheese out some wins and have a good time. So, if you guys give it a chance to give it a try, let me know what you think, and until next time, this is Mike from Deepwood, signing out.